And here we go. Picking every game against the spread to kick off week 1 of the 25 season. It starts with the defending champion Eagles hosting the Cowboys on Thursday. There's only one playoff rematch in week 1. It's Sunday Night Football. Ravens and Bills.
Can we bury this, please?
Kyle Long and Pete Prisco are back after last year's bludgeoning.
Thought you got rid of us.
Kyle was 24 games better, if my math is correct, than old Petey Pie. And look at the best bets. He even killed you in that, too.
Well, I'm going to give you a best bet that can't miss this year.
Okay.
A bald guy's going to win this picks competition.
I don't know. I was pretty good in my best bets last year. I was almost as good as Kyle. I think I was 2 games behind him.
Okay, well, two bald guys and a guy with a toupee.
This is your weekly pick show. We're going to do it every week here on CBS Sports HQ Spotlight. Chris Hassel, Kyle Long, and Pete Prisco. Look, last year at this time, Kyle didn't even know how to pick a game against the spread. He thought we were just going to pick winners here.
I was picking winners.
And then he comes in and he does that. It's going to be even better in year 2. We start with
it's back to earth.
No promises.
So? Yeah, you say that. You say that every week last year.
It's like the market. It goes up, it goes down.
It goes
but
down.
You know what? We're going to be all right in the long run.
Cowboys and Eagles to kick things off. How different is this game specifically for the Cowboys without Micah Parsons to try to chase around Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley?
From a football standpoint, you're going to miss him a great deal. I don't think there's any question about that. But I went on a rant this morning where I said, all this talk about the psyche of the Cowboys and how do they handle their player being traded, you know how they handle it? You're all individual corporations who go play football. And you do what you do. You do everything to your best of your ability. If something like this is going to impact you, then you're weak in the mind. And I don't think it will. I'm of the mind that the Cowboys are not going to be bothered by this one bit. From an emotional psyche standpoint. From a football standpoint, that's a whole nother issue, particularly when you're playing this team and this offense.
They've got a number of people trying to turn over a new leaf in Dallas. I think about Matt Eberflus, their defensive coordinator, just had a failed stint as a head coach in Chicago, gets an opportunity to rewrite the history books on his career. How many guys get opportunities now that Micah Parsons is not in the building? How many guys get an opportunity to get a piece of that spotlight that's always been on Micah Parsons? You get to play for Dallas. It's a unique opportunity you get, and I don't think anybody's going to waste that opportunity. They may not be as talented, but you're going to see a lot of guys playing really hard.
The win total is 7.5 for the Dallas Cowboys. That's the lowest win total going into a season in over 20 years, 2003. But I get the sense that you guys feel that they're going to be better than that.
I do. And you know, look, when you play the Eagles, you got to stop the run. Last year, the Cowboys gave up 4.8 yards per rush on the ground. Well, Kenny Clark comes over, and Kenny Clark is part of the trade for Micah Parsons. He's going to help improve the run defense. That's what he does. He didn't play that well last year. He had a turf toe injury, from what I was told, and it impacted him the entire season. Well, now he's back healthy again. They will be better against the run, and you have to be if you don't have that elite pass rusher. On the other side, offensively, I think they're going to score points. I think Dak Prescott now has a field even with, you know, Pickens on one side and Lamb on the other. You can really throw the ball around, and I think the offensive line is going to be better than people think it is. A lot of big bodies up there, a lot of youth, but they're going to be good. The Cowboys are going to move the football. They're going to score points. They're going to score points on the Eagles, and they're going to stay in this game. I like the Cowboys to hang around in this game.
Oh, boy, it kind of feels like when we were watching that UNC game when it was like 7 points early, and it's like, oh, man, UNC looks great. And then next thing you know, it's 34-7. It could be one of those games with the Cowboys and the Eagles, just because I know the Johnnies and Joes in Philadelphia, they got a whole lot of them. And they're missing their biggest Johnny or Joe in Dallas right now without Micah Parsons. I think if you're a Cowboys fan and you want to look at the silver lining, go ahead and take a look at that offensive line, which you talk about. It is a group that's growing. They're getting older together. A lot of those guys were brought in the 1, 2, 3 years in recent memory. And they've got some good players there, and a lot of youth is going to develop.
So, Pete, you like the Cowboys to keep it within this number, and that number had been 6.5 and 7.5. Now it's all the way up to 8.5. One of, if not the biggest spread of the weekend. Why?
Yeah, I just think they're going to. I think Dak Prescott's going to keep him in the game. The Eagles have some transition on defense a little bit too. That's not. They lost a couple. Milt Williams is gone. Sweat's gone. They got young guys going in there. Guys like Hunt have to step in, and then the depth isn't what it used to be. Look, Fangio's a great defensive coordinator. You're going to have a rookie linebacker starting, Jihad Campbell. So they're going to be. Are they going to be good? Yeah. Are they going to be great? I don't know if they're going to be great right out of the gate. So I think the Cowboys are going to score points in this game. And by the way, you talk about Jimmys and Joes. North Carolina doesn't have a Jimmy or a Joe.
They just have a Bill. That's it. And a Jordan.
Yeah.
They do. Yeah, I got the Cowboys. It don't have to be close, or the Eagles. It doesn't have to be close.
So you like the Eagles blow it out?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be close.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you saw the numbers from Dak Prescott. He's 4-1 in his last 5 games against the Eagles. He did not play in either of the 2 meetings last year when the Eagles absolutely smoked the Cowboys. That kicks things off on Thursday Night Football. Then on Friday, we're going to South America. It's the Brazil game. Second year in a row, we're going to see a game down there. Hopefully the field's going to be a little bit better than last year when the Packers and Eagles played on that field. It's the Chiefs -3 against the Chargers, Kyle.
Well, I love the Chiefs this year, and I think I haven't put enough love on their name this year. And we were just talking upstairs. I think Patrick Mahomes is right back in the driver's seat of one of those supercars. You look at the offense over the last few years, they've had to kind of piecemeal a group together and figure out how to win games in close games. It doesn't have to be like that for the Kansas City Chiefs this year. They've got a blindside protector in Josh Simmons that they stole at the bottom of the first round, who looked lights out in the preseason. Obviously, they still have Trey Smith, Creed Humphrey, and then that receiver room is as talented as you've seen for Patrick Mahomes in quite some time. I do think Travis Kelce is going to come back and have a good season. I really do. I think he's taking it seriously this offseason. A lot of distractions last year. But that guy, number 15, on the far left of that graphic, he's still the quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. I like them down there in Brazil. And also, the Los Angeles Chargers, Rashawn Slater's down. Joe Alt, he's had to move positions. We love that team because of their 2 stalwart tackles, but they've had to shift some stuff around, Pete.
Yeah, when you talk about the Chiefs' offense, I think Patrick Mahomes is getting back to being gaudy number Patrick Mahomes this year. He was sped up the last couple of years. You mentioned Simmons at left tackle. I think that solidifies that spot, and that was a problem for them, so much so they moved their all-pro guard to left tackle last year down the stretch, Joe Thuney. He's not there anymore, but having Simmons really changes things. Jawan Taylor played hurt all last year. He had to fight through every week to play, and yet he played. So I think the offensive line is going to give him more time. Patrick Mahomes hasn't put up gaudy numbers the last couple of years. He will this year. He's getting back to that. The ball's going to go down the field. Worthy's going to put up monster numbers in this passing game. And when they get Rice back from a suspension, they're really going to be dynamic in the passing game. So I think they're going to score a ton of points. I think that starts here. I know the Chargers, look, they do some good things on defense, but I think he's going to throw the ball around on them in this game. I think when you look at the other side, you mentioned Alt not being, Slater not being there. It weakens them at 2 spots, the Chargers, because Alt's a great right tackle. Now he goes to left tackle. He's not Slater at left tackle, and now you put Trey Pipkins in at right tackle, who
we've seen before,
and he's not Alt. So that weakens them at 2 spots, and I think that gives the Chiefs a big advantage, particularly on the offensive lines.
One more thing here: the blindside protector for Patrick Mahomes provides us more opportunities to see the game that we love from Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
The backyard football, the improvisational. Travis Kelce with his back to the goalpost trying to make eye contact with Patrick. When you have the confidence of having your backside protected, you can take that extra beat with the football. That's when magic happens for the Kansas City Chiefs.
The last time we saw the Chiefs play, he was beat up. The Eagles beat the lineup and beat him up, and that's how you beat Patrick Mahomes. Now with the left tackle in there, they're much more stout up front, and he's going to have time to throw the football.
The Chargers won 11 games last year, yet it doesn't seem like they're one of the contenders being talked about in the AFC. I mean, you could probably list 6, maybe even 7 teams ahead of the Chargers before you hear someone beat the table and say, this team can make a run in the postseason. Why is that?
We haven't seen it yet. Also, the receiver position is still a question mark for me in Los Angeles, but I know they brought their guy Keenan Allen back. But is that the Band-Aid that's going to cure all your issues there? The offensive line issues, the pass rusher department. I love Khalil Mack more than anybody, but he's 34 years old, and he's the most star-studded rusher you have. How are you going to be able to compete in this juggernaut of a division?
Yeah, I'm with you. And you talk about the defense, the run defense. Are they good enough up front? You know, they brought some guys in to help that, but I don't know if they're still good enough. I think Jamari Caldwell is going to be a big-time run stuffer, but he's a rookie. It might take him a little time. The secondary has some question. They have some young players back there as well. I just don't know if they're good enough offensively throwing the football when you need to throw it. Like you mentioned, does Keenan Allen really juice up the passing game? Look, he's a great route runner. He's slower. He's never been a burner. That's a problem. And we know what Harbaugh wants to do. He wants to turn and hand the ball off to Murray and Hampton and pound the football. And Hampton's going to put up big numbers. But with that offensive line being what it is, that concerns me as well. So I don't know what they are. In that division, they look like the third team in that division to me, and that means you're probably not going to be a playoff team unless you sneak in as well.
And the Chiefs and the Broncos,
correct.
I take it, if you're going to put it that way. Chiefs going for their fifth different win in five different countries.
We both got the Chiefs, by the way.
Both on the Chiefs. They've won, obviously, in America. They're 3-0 in international series, London, Mexico City, Frankfurt, and now they're looking to do it in Brazil. Pushing the pile with Kyle Long and Mike Renner. Are you going to be on weekly this season again,
I'm not
Pete?
on this year.
What?
They booted me.
You booted him already, Kyle?
We went a little younger.
Wow, you went there. You went there.
Oh, no.
Hey, by the way, I'm the same age as your father, so tell him that.
Pushing the pile daily.
Hey, Howie.
Hey, coming up next, we're going to pick Aaron Rodgers' first game with the Pittsburgh Steelers against his former team, the Jets, on CBS. Picking every game against the spread, we have reached the early slate Sunday on CBS, highlighted by the Jets and the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers is facing the team he played for last year, and Justin Fields is doing the exact same thing. They pull the old switcheroo. MetLife Stadium at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Let's pick it with the Jets, a home underdog here. Steelers -2.5. This is the lowest total, not surprisingly, the lowest total of the weekend. The only total under 40 at 38.5, Pete.
By the way, Rodgers played for his team. Fields kind of did last year. I mean, he wasn't the starter. I mean, right?
A little bit. Start of the season.
Rodgers was the starter, so it's a little different. Look, this game is interesting because of that, and it's interesting because Rodgers is going back to face the Jets, and we know there's some bad blood there. But what are we getting with Rodgers? That's the question. Are we getting Rodgers that we saw down the stretch when he played actually pretty good football, or are we getting Rodgers we saw early in the season? And this isn't a great Steelers offense. What is the real identity of the Pittsburgh Steelers? It's to run the ball. And they averaged 4.0 yards per carry, 4.0 per carry last year. That's not good enough for the Pittsburgh Steelers. If that's the same way this year, it's going to be a problem for Rodgers. So I'm curious to see what he's like. By the way, he did throw more touchdown passes last year than Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and he tied Josh Allen for number of touchdown passes. So it wasn't like he was awful last year. But what is he this year? That's the question for me going into this.
I'll tell you this, Pete. Aaron Rodgers will start better this year than he did last year because he was so close and so close removed from his injury, from his rehab process. And I talked at length about this at last year, that we give the benefit of the doubt to receivers, skill players, running backs when they come back from a lower body injury, regardless of their age. I don't care if they're 22 or 32. Aaron Rodgers is 41 years old, 40 years old. We got to give him the benefit of the doubt physically. And to your point, he came back last year at the end of the season, and he looked like Aaron Rodgers. So for the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're going to have a more NFL-looking offense this season with their quarterback. For Justin Fields and the New York Jets, obviously it's all going to be predicated on running the football. That's how they've drafted. You know that's how Aaron Glenn wants to play. So we've got toughness versus toughness. When that happens, I default to who has more skills, and with Aaron Rodgers at the quarterback position, I got to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers here, Pete.
You know, by the way, when we talk about Aaron Rodgers and him, we gave him the benefit of the doubt last year, in large part because of him. Remember all the talk the year before he was going to come back if they were in a playoff run in December and all?
9 weeks after Achilles.
Right.
Yeah.
So everybody kind of got, fooled by that and the fact that he wasn't the same guy. He couldn't move around. I think this year he'll be better because he can move around. But I'm on the other side of this game. I think the Jets are the better team. I think they'll find a way. I think they'll find a way defensively to limit Aaron Rodgers, and that run defense will be good because they only give up 4.1 per rush on the ground last year, the Jets. I think they're going to be better against the run this year, and I do think it's going to be a problem for them, and they'll turn their pass rushers loose. They didn't play well on defense last year. I think when you put the tape on, they were lazy. They didn't tackle very well.
You're talking about the Jets.
A lot of guys didn't tackle at all. And I think that's something that Aaron Glenn will bring back to that team. I think they're going to be much better on defense this time around. I think Fields will do enough running the ball. They will run the ball. I think the Jets are the other side in this game.
You think the Jets are going to have a better season than the Steelers?
About the same.
Really?
About the same.
Neither making the postseason?
Neither making the postseason.
Does that streak that we saw of Steelers non-losing seasons, does that come to an end?
It's in jeopardy.
Uh-oh.
It's in major jeopardy.
Okay, let's move on to another game on CBS at 1 o'clock Eastern time. It's the Raiders, it's the Patriots, it's two old faces in new places. You got Pete Carroll now with Vegas. You've got Mike Vrabel back with his Patriots.
It's a revenge game for Pete Carroll. Remember, the Patriots fired him.
That's right.
They did fire him
back in the mid-90s?
A long time ago.
I was in diapers still.
You were?
Pete Carroll, who's chewing that gum, though.
I was covering the league still back then. If you can believe that. No, the thing about the Raiders, I think offensively they're going to be very good. I think Geno Smith, good offensive line. Genty can run the ball as a rookie.
Good where it's important.
And the two tight ends, I think Chip Kelly will be great for that offense. He's going to use more two tight ends. With Bowers, you can flex them out, and Mayer. And I think they're going to score. My concern with the Raiders is, aside from Max Crosby, you look at their defense, you go, who the heck are these guys? They're relying on a lot of, for example, at the cornerback position, Eric Stokes is going to be one of their starting corners. The Packers are kind of cornerback needy, and they didn't want him.
And they've got a rookie playing, too.
Right, Porter. And so when you look at their secondary, they got problems in the secondary. So I think this is going to show up. I think they're going to give up a lot of points. The flip side is, I think the Patriots are a year away. I mean, I think they're going to be feisty, just like Vrabel, feisty, tough, nasty every single week, but I think they're still a year away. So this is an interesting game when you have a team coming from all the way across the country to go play that team on the road. I think it's a tough one. This was a tough pick for me.
I actually just love the way that this Vegas Raiders management and ownership has put this thing together. You get a quarterback who's accurate. You get an offensive coordinator who's not afraid to run the football, and that's what Chip Kelly does. Look, I played for Chip at Oregon. When I first showed up, I thought I would be pass protecting 65 times a game. Turned out I was run blocking 45 times a game. You only saw the 15 touchdown passes that we ran on tape. Look, they've got two tight ends. They can remain balanced. They've got a receiver who does not drop the football. They've got a tight end who is literally everywhere on the football field. And they've got a coach who has won over the course of 2 decades in his career. I love the way the Raiders are set up. The biggest thing the Raiders have going against them is the division that they are in. That being said, I'm going to be taking the Patriots in New England. Mike Vrabel's home opener. Drake May taking the first to second year jump. The toughness that they brought into this building and onto the roster for the New England Patriots, I think shows week 1. Give me the Patriots.
I think the Patriots are going to be better. They have 6 new starters on defense they added in free agency. That might take a little time to mesh together. That could be a problem for them. I'm a big believer in Drake May. I think they've upgraded on the offensive line. I still worry about the center. Garrett Bradbury is a small center. He gets mauled when people push him around, when they get on top of his nose. That could be a problem for him. I think this is a great spot for the Raiders to go in and score some points and win the game. I think Pete Carroll gets his revenge on the New England Patriots.
That would snap an 11-game losing skid as an underdog for the Raiders, but past doesn't really matter. Pete Carroll wasn't there, and he's about to set the all-time mark. He'll become the oldest coach to coach an NFL game, 74 years old. Only 1 year older than our very own Pete Prisco.
No, he's many years older than me. Many years older than me. Don't do that to me.
Let's go to Dolphins and Colts, also in that 1 o'clock window on CBS. Pete, you know how long it's been since the Colts have won in week 1?
It's been a long time.
Guess.
I've read this, but go ahead.
2009.
No, not quite that far back.
10 years.
2013.
Jeez.
Reggie Wayne caught a touchdown in the game. The last time the Colts won in week 1, they are 1.5-point favorites.
Well, they're going to win this week. I mean, Miami has all kinds of issues to me, and biggest issue for Miami is culture. They've had all kinds of issues, and now all of a sudden the coach is going to try and instill discipline in the team after allowing them to go run wild for the last couple of years. That's hard to do. I don't have children. You do. But I imagine if you disciplined your child and then...
You've got cats, Pete. I mean, we discipline them.
No, but I'm saying if you don't discipline your child and then all of a sudden you decide you're going to, the child's not going to listen to you.
They'll laugh at you.
Just like this team's going to laugh at Mike McDaniel. They went on an 11-day training camp trip to play 2 preseason games and work out with the Lions and the Bears. You know why they did that? Team bonding. Does that work? No. So I think that's the concern for them. I think their offensive line, I think Patrick Paul is going to be a really good player at left tackle.
That dude is large.
He's a good player, but are they good enough at the other spots? And then on the other side of the ball, the corners. Look at their corners. Storm Duck, Rasul Douglas, they've had guys rotating in and out of there. And they got a rookie nickel back. So I think it's going to be a problem for them. And in this game, the Colts have weapons. The only thing that they have to tell Daniel Jones not to do is don't mess it up. because they can turn and hand the ball off to Jonathan Taylor. They have weapons on the outside. They have a rookie tight end, and Tyler Warren's going to catch a boatload of passes. The offensive line's good and solid. They're going to score points if Daniel Jones doesn't mess it up. And I think they're going to attack those corners in this game, and they're going to score points in this one.
Pete, very confident. Almost sounds like a best bet, which we'll get to later on in the show.
I'll be the first guy to line up and bet on Daniel Jones every week if he can show me week one that he has put his past behind him and that he can feel confident in the role of a starting quarterback in the National Football League. But I went and watched that Dolphins team practice, and there was a lot of great players on the sideline. And from what I understand, some of those guys are going to be out there in the football game. I got to talk to my teammate Tyreek Hill, and he looked great physically, but, you know, he was in mesh shorts and a T-shirt on the sideline. I've seen him play before. And I told him, I said, hey, man, if you can go like I know you can go, this team is going to be competitive every week. I don't care what else they have to say about you. Tua's on the field. The dude throws the hell out of the football. Yeah, he's an injury concern, but right now he's healthy. I'm going to be taking the Dolphins. I take skills and I take quarterbacks every day of the week when there's a question mark on the other sideline about their quarterback.
Tyreek Hill, and he told me, he says he's down to 188 pounds, which is what his weight was in Kansas City. And he said, I've been more focused this offseason than any time in my career. And I asked him, well, why haven't you been as focused in the past? And you let those years go, and now he's finally dedicated to it. He still runs 10.15 in the 100. It's unreal.
Unbelievable to watch.
I think I agree with you. If he's healthy, he's in for a big year. But by the way, he's been part of the problem in Miami. I mean, not showing up, being late.
That tracks.
That's been part of the problem. And so now he's not voted a captain, not that I care about who captains are, but can he instill the discipline that he needs?
I think it's indicative of success that they rescinded his captaincy. Look, there's certain guys on your team that can stand in front of the room, that win all the weightlifting competitions, that have all the answers right when the coach is calling them in the meeting. And then there's guys who just show up on Sunday, for the most part, and beat everybody to death. And that's what Tyreek Hill does, get him the football. I don't care if he's got a C on his jersey. It's indicative of success. Just let him do what he's got to do.
You don't worry about their corners at all? You got to worry about
I'm worried about the other team's corners.
Yeah.
Who starts more games at quarterback this year? Daniel Jones for the Colts or Tua for the Dolphins?
Tua.
Daniel Jones.
Why, you think Tua's going to get hurt?
I'm just looking at the sample size we've seen in recent memory, and it's tough to put the chips at the center of the table for that.
Well, what if Daniel Jones doesn't play well? They could always go back to Anthony Richardson, too.
And then what's Anthony Richardson going to do?
Get hurt.
If he doesn't take himself out.
Right. Well, wow, harsh.
Kyle, year two. Here he comes, man.
Come on.
Comfortable. All right, a lot of disagreements.
I'm an O-lineman, bro. You tap your helmet, I'm rooting for the other guy.
I don't blame you. I mean, that's the way Pete thinks, too.
What's the next game?
Next game is Cards-Saints. That's also on CBS. This is in New Orleans. The Saints have won 6 straight Week 1 games. That's the longest active streak in the NFL, and it reminds us, remember how great the Saints started last year? The first 2 weeks, they just blew everybody out. Well, they're getting almost a touchdown at home.
I don't understand this line because I think, look, you look at the history. It's a tough trip to open your season. You're playing in a really tough environment. That place is hard to play in. Anybody who's been there knows that.
It's a dimly lit funeral home.
It's
like you walk in and you're like, did somebody, what happened?
Yeah. You have expected voodoo thing.
Turn the lights on.
Some voodoo curse to come out the door, right? You ever been in one of those voodoo shops in New Orleans?
No.
Oh, yeah.
I stay away from those.
Oh, yeah. You get pins of
you
people.
You do tarots and stuff, too?
Stick pins in people.
Cardinals, Pete.
Yeah, but the Cardinals, when you look at the Cardinals, I think they're going to be much better defensively.
Yep.
They've added bodies up front. Sweat up front. You get Calais Campbell up front. Walter Nolan when he gets back from injury. Tomlinson. They're bigger, they're stronger, and they were feisty and tough on defense every single week, so they're going to be better on that side of the ball. But this is a tough spot to open your season. And I think, look, they're better than the Saints. I think the Saints have issues at certain spots. I think there's some age crept in on defense. The quarterback is a question mark, a major question mark. But this is one of those Pete Prisco, be careful games right here. I just think it reeks of go on the road, play in a tough environment for basically a young team against a group of veterans in their tough environment.
And they're pissed off because everybody's been ranking him as the 30th,
and the
32nd
spread is enormous.
Yeah, he has them ranked dead last in his power rankings.
I do, but you know what? They're last, but they're going to cover this number. I'm going to take the Saints in the points.
My big gripe with the Arizona Cardinals is I think that they're a team that can go win a lot of games and play meaningful football and maybe win some of those meaningful games. But the issue I have is that they have been inconsistent, and it's that guy right there, number one, Kyler Murray. MVP-like talent, MVP-like skill set, and at times he does MVP things. But then there's weeks that leave you scratching your head, and this week right here at New Orleans with that big of a number is one of those head scratchers. If this team's going to be different than before, they'll go and they handle their business, and they'll cover. That's why I'm picking the Cardinals in this one, because I've got faith in Jonathan Gannon. I've got faith in Kyler Murray maturing another year. I've got faith in Marvin Harrison Jr. arriving this season. Give me the Cardinals.
It's a big year for Kyler Murray. He has to prove to people that he doesn't fold at the second half of the season, which he did last year, and he has to get this team to the playoffs and prove he's the long-term answer at quarterback.
All right, that's one of our games on CBS at 1 o'clock Eastern time. We have the doubleheader this weekend, the 4:25 Eastern time window. That's Kyle. You're going to be up there at Lambeau.
Oh, yeah.
Baby. I wish it was 12 below.
I'm going to be singing Bear Down, Chicago.
You know, he's going to do potentially a Lambeau leap. As a former Chicago Bear, he's going to go up there and do
If
that.
you guys want to see a 310-pound man with metal in his neck and his knee do a Lambeau leap, come check out NFL Today Plus.
Well, he's jumping on the bandwagon. He knows better.
All right, coming up next, we've got other 1 o'clock games, including Joe Burrow and the Bengals trying to finally win an early September game. Picking every game against the spread like we do every week. Starting off here, Week 1, 2025 season with some 1 o'clock Eastern time kickoffs, including a big one in the AFC South, Bucs and Falcons. Those are the two favorites. You got the Commanders. What are they going to do after making the NFC Championship game? But we're going to start with a team that needs to get off to a good start. The Cincinnati Bengals, -5.5 in Cleveland against the Browns. Chris Hassel, Kyle Long, Pete Prisco. The Bengals have had 3 straight 0-2 starts after making the Super Bowl. It's crazy.
And I don't think anybody's lost to the Cleveland Browns more than Joe Burrow in the history of the National Football
It doesn't
League.
make any sense.
No sense. I saw that upstairs in the research room, and I said, get that blasphemy off the screen. But it's real. Here's the deal. It's going to come down to Al Golden's defense. Look, this guy's great. Joe Burrow's great. I was the guy standing on the table last year saying, screw Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. That's your MVP. That's your most valuable player. But they beat down their leg all year defensively. They get rid of Lou Anarumo, who has cut the head off some dragons of some great quarterbacks in the National Football League. They bring in Al Golden. They're going to simplify this defense, and they say, we're going to do more with less. We're going to run man, and we're going to force quarterbacks to make perfect throws, and we're going to outscore you offensively. I like this game plan better than what we saw last year. Give me the Bengals because they've started so poorly historically in week ones. I think this is the year that maybe they have their stuff together. They signed 3 players. They're ready for the season, okay? They know it's week 1. It's no secret.
And they played guys in the preseason, which to kind of get ready to try and be better out of the gate. So it makes some sense. And I do think Al Golden's going to change the way they play defense. They have man corners, and they've used them in zone last year. Those guys want to play man. They're better at man, and I think they'll excel at man. So they will be better on defense. I just think history matters here. And you go on the road against a team you've had problems against, that's in the back of your head. I don't care who you are. And the Browns, look, the Browns aren't going to win a lot of games this year, but this is one of those games where they'll stay in the game. And I think Kevin Stefanski's a good enough coach. Flacco can make some throws down the field. We know they've been good over the years on the offensive line. I think they stay in the game. Garrett can be a disruptor. He can get after the quarterback. And if they don't stay in the game and Joe Flacco doesn't play well, you know what that's going to do? They're going to call for Shedeur Sanders.
Uh-oh.
They're going to call for Shedeur Sanders. He's the 3rd-team quarterback, but you know it's coming.
They being the fans.
The fans, or fans, media, whoever.
Yeah.
They're all going to call for Shedeur Sanders. He's the 3rd-team quarterback. He's not the backup. Dylan Gabriel's the backup. If Joe Flacco stumbles, 1, 2, or 3 games, then I think they go to Dylan Gabriel. Then if Dylan Gabriel struggles 1, 2, 3 games,
break glass in case of emergency.
Yeah, that's exactly what Shedeur Sanders. And then if he struggles, they have a lot of draft picks. They can go get one next year.
Pete, the company man. I really didn't think it would be him that brought up the mandatory Shedeur Sanders.
That was
mention when
good.
Talking Browns, but you were able to do that.
Well, you know why I do it? Because I just want to say that he should be 3rd team for a reason. He's the 3rd-team quarterback. He's played himself into that spot. Gabriel beat him out. There's no agenda against him. I don't buy that.
So why are we talking about him?
Well, because I wanted to irritate you.
All right, let's move on to the Bucs and Falcons. This was an interesting matchup last year because the Bucs won the division, but they struggled with the Falcons. You think so?
Wow.
Real loose?
Yeah.
A lot of Bucs games got loose last year, including these matchups. Why were the Falcons able to have success against Tampa last year?
Well, there were some mistakes made by the Bucs in those games if you go back and look at them, but and they've had success against them over the years, and so I think this is a tough first game for the Bucs, particularly since they're banged up. They went into the season thinking they'd have all 11 starters back on the offense. Well, they don't. Chris Godwin's not going to be back.
The most important
Tristan Wirfs probably not going to be back, although there's some talk he might push the play, but he's probably not going to be back. And that one's the biggest, you mentioned it, that's the biggest loss. Because now you have to play Charlie Heck at left tackle. That means you're going to have to keep a tight end in to help. That's a problem for them. The flip side of that is, do the Falcons rush the passer well enough? Remember, they drafted the 2 rookies. And they drafted him in the first round. They traded away first-round pick to get Pierce. They drafted Walker. Neither one of them is starting right away, by the way. They haven't won the job. And so that's still a concern for them. The other part of it is, we talk about Tristan Wirfs not being there. Well, on the other side for the Falcons, Caleb McGarry's not there either at right tackle. He's a big part of what they do running the football.
So now it sounds like those Falcons rookies are going to have a hell of a game there, Pete.
Yeah, well, no, I'm talking about for the Falcons, he's not there. McGarry's not there.
You're saying Wirfs out, and for the Falcons, right tackle's
McGarry's
out. Yes,
out.
McGarry.
And so I think both tackles being out is going to impact this game as well. So.
Well, but that would lead to a lower scoring game, would it not? You guys think it's going to go high?
I think it's going to go high. I think it's going to go high.
That's Mr. Loose over here.
I'm obsessed with both these offenses, and it starts with the quarterbacks. You know how I feel about Baker Mayfield. He could throw for 300 yards in a snowstorm in an away city. Guy is just blind to the fact of where he's playing. He's just great at football. Mike Evans, you hear him talk about Emeka Egbuka and the impact he's had since he first walked onto campus in Tampa Bay. I can't wait to have my eyes glued onto him. I just think that they have a litany of weapons. For the Falcons, so many ways for Penix Jr. to distribute the football, so many stars that can get the football. I just think this thing's going to get loose, man. I think it is. I really do. And I think that the Buccaneers win.
I think the Buccaneers win, too. I think the Buccaneers are going to go push for the Super Bowl this year. I think this team is deep, talented, and when everybody's back, they can do anything and everything on offense.
All right, let's move to the Panthers and the Jags. It's in Jacksonville. It's been 5 years or so since the Jags have opened at home. They're 3.5-point favorites. Travis Hunter's debut, percentage of snaps that he sees in his first game. Pete, what do you think?
Well, he's a little banged up. So initially I thought he would play mostly on offense and little on defense. Then I was told he's going to play a lot on defense and not as much on offense. Well, now I think he's going to play more on offense and not as much on defense. So expect him to play almost all the snaps on offense and play in the nickel on defense. That's what I think he's going to do.
That's going to be interesting.
And I'll tell you what. He's got the stamina to do it. Does his body hold up? That's the question. I think that's the most important thing. But when he's on the field offensively, he changes what they do because he can do so much stuff in the middle of the field. He runs routes like, he's not a great route runner yet, but he's smart. He knows how to sit down in zones. He's got great hands. And Brian Thomas Jr., by the way, has not had a great summer. He's dropped the ball in practice. He's not a great practice player, but he lights it up in games. And I think that offense will get going. Trevor Lawrence has fixed his mechanics offensively. I think they're going to score points. I worry about them on defense. And then this is the kind of game, the middle of their defense is not great. They went out and got some veterans. They got Saunders was with the Chiefs and then the Saints.
Colin.
And then they got Austin Johnson, who was with Buffalo. They're bigger bodies. But you know what they want to do in Carolina. They want to run the ball. And they have 2 good physical guards. So that could be something, could be a problem for the Jaguars in this game.
I'm always a big proponent of quarterbacks having success. I love seeing guys have renaissances and second chances. And for Trevor Lawrence, we've kind of been waiting for the engine to get roaring again. And I think Liam Cohen's the guy for the job. Obviously, you mentioned BTJ and Travis Hunter. Those are great weapons. I want to see what else this offense can do and how much better and more confident Trevor Lawrence and healthy Trevor Lawrence looks at the quarterback position. And on the other side, Bryce Young, he gets this young receiver, T-Mac. You talk about the run game. I want to see this connection from Jump Street because they've been talking about it like it's something special coming out of Carolina this offseason. But I've got the Jaguars in this one. I just think they're a better football team. I really like what Liam Cohen's done, his creativity.
Yeah, he's done a great job with them. They've changed the way Trevor Lawrence throws the football. His mechanics are so much better. He's quicker with the ball. He's not long striding as much. You know how I say it's a big proving year for Kyler Murray? It's a big prove-it year for Trevor Lawrence as well. There are a lot of doubters out there who don't think he's capable of putting up the big numbers. I do. I think it starts here. I think the Jaguars win and cover.
Total is 46.5. Panther overs went 13-4 last season. Nobody went over more than Carolina. Giants and Commanders. This is close to a touchdown spread. It's in the D.C. area. Are the Commanders closer to a Super Bowl team or a team that might miss the playoffs?
Maybe the latter, which is crazy to me. And I think the biggest thing that the Washington Commanders have going against them is their recent memory, of their success. They went all the way to the NFC Championship with a rookie quarterback. Look, Dan Quinn is going to have a team punching up regardless of what the talent says on their roster. But I'm just not – you're going to tell me the Commanders team is poised to make a Super Bowl? I would say I would err on the latter side of that statement.
I think Jaden Daniels will be better than he was a year ago. I don't think we saw close. Well, I don't think we saw close to what he could do throwing the football. It was, instinct and get out of the pocket and run and make plays outside the pocket. I think he's going to get through his progressions much better this time around. It's always been 1-2 and get out. Now it's going to be 1-2-3 and maybe even check it down and get to 4. That's a big step for him. Their offensive line should be better. Getting Tunsil in there, moving Coleman, the left guard. Once they get Cosby back from his injury, they should be good up front. I think they're going to score offensively. I worry about their defense a little bit. I know
that's where they got boat raced last year.
Yeah. I mean, they've added some people up front, but I don't know if they're good enough on the defensive line to consistently win, play in and play out. And that's the biggest problem for me. I think they'll be good offensively. The other side is the Giants. Look, Russell Wilson, he knows he's holding that seat for Jackson Dart. Let's be real.
Now, Dart was named the backup for this game, ahead
of
Winston.
For a reason. So I think the Giants will be able to get after the quarterback in this. They're going to be good rushing the passer. I think they hang around in this game. Big number in a division game. I'll take the Giants plus the points.
Big number. I'm taking the Giants as well. And in week 1, that rush gets on you really quick. I don't think there's anybody in the National Football. Maybe there's a couple teams, a couple units that get after quarterbacks like those Giants. I'm going to go with the Giants.
All right, let's recap all the 1 p.m. games. These are the CBS games, and there is no agreement at all between Pete and Kyle.
We're going 2-2.
It's going to be a fun early slate for those guys. They do agree on 3 different team picks, Bucks, Jags, and Giants in the other 1 o'clock games. Up next, we have the late Sunday games to pick, including Jared Goff and the Lions going up to Lambeau to face the Packers. Also, the Texans at the Rams on CBS. Let's look at the late afternoon slate on Sunday as we pick every game. We're going to be in Green Bay, Packers hosting the Lions, 4:25 Eastern on CBS. If you don't get that one, you'll get Texans at Rams in your local area, also on Paramount+. Let's pick them. Chris Hassel, Kyle Long, Pete Prisco. We're going to start with Lions-Packers, and Kyle, we're going to start with you because you're going to be there. What do you expect that atmosphere and energy to be like with Micah Parsons likely making his Packers debut?
I've been in offensive meetings the night before games when you're preparing for a star player who you know can have a huge impact on the game. And there are probably going to be about 7 or 8 plays in John Morton's first 15. It's Dan Campbell's, though. Right. Where we are going to test the fortitude of Micah Parsons. And we're going to come at him from all angles. We're going to use different, F, tight end, Y, receiver, guard, tackle. Everybody and their mama gets a shot at Micah Parsons week 1. That's what I'm going to be looking for. And with the exodus of those coordinators in Detroit, I expect toughness to fill the place of creative ingenuity, okay? That's where they're going to go, grit and toughness. That's how they're going to win the game. Give me the Lions and the over.
Well, you like the over. You like the game to get loose. I like the game to get loose, too.
Oh, yeah?
I think both teams are going to score points in this game. We talk about the Packers and Micah Parsons, but I think we got to flip it to the other side. I think Jordan Love played injured all last year, and it really impacted what they did. I think they're going to be much better on offense. Watch out for Matthew Golden. The wide receiver has got star potential. He did some amazing things during the summer. And I think adding Parsons helps the pass rush. It helps Gary a great deal. The couple concerns for the Lions. The coordinators, new coordinators, one thing. But their identity has been the offensive line. They have an entirely new interior of that offensive line. That's a concern for me. Frank Ragnow's not there anymore. That's a big hit. Can they run the ball the way they normally do? Does that put more on Jared Goff? I'm going to take the Packers here. And I think it gets loose.
Big lose.
So you agree on the over, you disagree on the game with the Packers minus 2.5. Lions have owned the Packers of late. You saw it. They've won 6 of the last 7. CBS and NFL Today will be there along with NFL Today Plus, the very first show.
You know what?
Right
He
here
made
on
the
HQ.
pick, and he's kind of covering the game. Remember?
Our old guy used to say, I'm not covering the game. Rest in peace, Brady Quinn. Texans and Rams is also in that late window on CBS with the Rams in L.A. minus 3. Pete, did I hear you earlier say you think the Texans could have the best defense in the league?
Could, yes, could. They have a really
right
good
up there with the Broncos.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And when you look at it, the secondary is great. They can rush the passer.
Oh, yeah.
They stopped the run last year. I don't know if they're good enough to stop the run again this year, but they did last year. So you add that all up, and you got the makings of a really good defense. The problem for the Texans is you flip it over to the other side, the offensive line. They're going to start a rookie. Tay Ursary is going to start at left tackle. The interior of the offensive line, Ed Ingram's new guard, not a great player, had problems last year, was the worst lineman in Minnesota. That's going to be an issue for them. They still haven't decided on the center. That's going to be an issue for them. So, when you look at their offensive line, it's still a concern, and that was the problem last year. And you play the Rams, that's going to be a problem for them this year as well. So in this game, I think the Rams can get after the quarterback. How healthy is Matt Stafford? That's the biggest question hanging over the Rams. He's 37 years old. He's got a back issue. That's never a good combination. And so how does he miss games? Well, he's playing in this game. So for this game, I have the Rams.
You know, my rookie year, I stepped off the practice field for the first time, and 13-year center Roberto Garza looked at me and said, "How do you feel, young man?" And I said, "I'm pretty sore." And he was like, "Just remember how you feel. This is the best you will ever feel again." So I'm picking the Rams in Week 1.
Was he right?
He was right. This is Matt Stafford Week 1, Devontae Adams Week 1. They're healthy. They're as healthy as they're going to be. And with the questions about the Houston Texans, I just have to lean on what I do know about the Rams. Tremendous quarterback, tremendous head coach, ferocious defensive line that is going to test the integrity of that Houston Texans protection unit.
Does Jared Verse start his Defensive Player of the Year candidacy today with a big day in this game?
Do you think that might happen?
He has a chance.
Okay.
He's special.
49ers and Seahawks, the only divisional matchup in the NFC West. That is just after 4 Eastern time. It's in Seattle, Kyle, where the Seahawks are home dogs.
I love the Seahawks in this one. Okay, the NFC West. I was a young boy watching the old St. Louis Rams play against all the teams in the NFC West, and it seems like every week it was a 3-point, 7-point margin of victory, okay? There was never blowouts in the NFC West. I blink my eyes, it's 15 years later, and the same stuff is happening in the NFC West. And look at this guy here, Sam Darnold, who flashes brilliance at times, but we got a lot of questions about him. One thing we don't have questions about is that defense and their ability to contain offensive units. I like the Seahawks. If you've ever played in Seattle, that's a tough place to play, Pete.
It's a really tough place to play, and that place will be jumping, and no question about it. Sam Darnold, what is he? Is he the guy we saw early last season, for most of last season, or the guy who faded down the stretch, or the guy we've seen bounce around the league? We don't know who he is.
Does he have the weapons to do that in Seattle?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, they have Smith and Jigma's a heck of a player, Cooper Kupp, but they're kind of the same kind of player. So does he have enough speed over the top? That's the question in Seattle. I think on the other side of the ball, other side of the field, you have stars. There's still stars. Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, George Kittle. The stars are on that side.
It's Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. Yeah. If you turn the heat on too much in there, they all melt, okay? That's the issue in San Francisco.
Not yet. Last year they melted. This year they're back. As long as they're on the field, that team is going to be competitive and win the division, and I think they go to Seattle and serve notice to the rest of the division. They're here for the year.
And McCaffrey's always been great in Week 1. He's averaging 134 yards from scrimmage in Week 1. Only Jim Brown averaged more throughout his career. One more 4 p.m. kickoff. It's the Titans' #1 pick, Cameron Ward, having to face perhaps the best defense in the NFL.
This is a bad start for Cam Ward. It really is. You go on a road against the best defense in the league in those conditions, but also in the mile-high altitude. That's a tough way to start your career, and you don't have a great team around you. The line's better. They had problems on the offensive line last year. It's better, but this is going to be a tough go for Cam Ward. I like the Broncos here. I think Bo Nix in his second year will be one of those guys. They'll scheme him up and get him to make plays outside the pocket again. I don't believe highly in that defense on the other side of the ball for the Titans. So give me the best defense against the rookie quarterback making his first start. I'll take the Broncos.
About a week and a half ago, I heard Cam Ward interviewed after a scuffle at practice involving him and Jeffrey Simmons. And if you know Jeffrey Simmons, that's a big-time mismatch with him and Cam Ward. Little did Cam Ward know that week one would hold an even bigger mismatch for him. And because of that, I've got the Denver Broncos. I love Sean Payton, love their defense. Bo Nix takes another big step. We saw him get better as the season went along. Look, I think we got a lot to look forward to with Cam Ward. But this is the Broncos deal right now. Give me the Broncos.
All right, so a handful of agreements here in the late window on Sunday. They love the over in that Lions-Packers game, over 47.5. They're on
so everybody will take the under.
Yeah, right. Need the guys. Rams -3 against the Texans, and also they like the Broncos -7.5 against the Titans. Up next, we'll go to Sunday Night Football, maybe the best game of the weekend. The two favorites in the AFC going head-to-head, Ravens, Bills. Sunday Night Football, Week 1. Doesn't get much better than Ravens, Bills. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, the two favorites in the AFC, and the only playoff rematch in Week 1. Bills won in the divisional round this past season. The Bills are at home, and they are slight, measly 1.5-point favorites as we pick it with Kyle and Pete.
Inject this game into my veins, every bit of it. I love this. The Ravens might be the most talented team in the league when you look at them from top to bottom. And look at the backfield. You have an MVP candidate at quarterback and an MVP candidate at running back. And so you flip it to the other side, you have Josh Allen, who won the MVP last year and carried that team on his back. So I love every bit of this, but I think there's a lot of things at play here for Buffalo. One being, I think they've added a lot of big bodies to their defensive line. That's been a problem for them. When you talk to the people in that organization, do we have enough playmakers on defense? Do we have enough bodies to stop the run? Well, they add two rookies, TJ Sanders and Deion Walker, both on the interior of that defensive line, big power players that will help in the run game. Getting Bosa to rush the passer. Now, keep him in bubble wrap. Don't expose him to 40 plays a game, but I think he can help them as well. I'm concerned a little bit about their injuries at corner. Hairston isn't there. Tre'Davious White got banged up last week, but I think they're good enough. And when you play Lamar Jackson, you know what you have to do. You have to limit Lamar Jackson.
You have to do everything right.
But you know what? They did it in the postseason. They limited him in the postseason. Now Mark Andrews dropped the pass, and that was a whole different issue. But I think the Bills. I love the Bills this year. I have them winning the Super Bowl. I think they get off to a good start, and it's tough to win on the road on an opener on a Sunday night.
If you're the Ravens, we can't let this thing come down to one play, okay? Because as we've seen with the Baltimore Ravens, those one plays often fall the other way. I think back to Week 1, Kansas City hosting the Baltimore Ravens last year. What happened? It was the tip of Isaiah Likely's shoe, the wrong colored shoe, according to Patrick Mahomes, that went out of bounds. Look, I think this team understands they have to be on their P's and Q's, regardless of who they're playing Week 1, but they are playing the Buffalo Bills. This is a playoff game to start the season. What travels well? Defense and the running game. What do the Ravens have in droves? Defense and the running game. I like the Ravens in this one.
All right, Sunday Night Football, Bills, Ravens. Winner of this going to have a nice leg up in the AFC.
We could see this one again later in the season.
Yeah, I mean, you look at those head-to-head battles could determine the one seed and home field advantage. Kyle, looking forward to seeing you out there at Lambeau Field Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern for the debut of NFL Today Plus on CBS Sports HQ, streaming on Paramount Plus, and on our CBS Sports YouTube page with host Amanda Guerra, Matt Ryan, and Antonio Pierce as well. Monday Night Football, Vikings at Bears. Justin Jefferson's been banged up with a hamstring. He's missed most of camp. Caleb Williams has a new head coach. JJ's got a new quarterback in J.J. McCarthy, so it's kind of a debut on both sides of things. You're the Bear here. It's pretty much a pick-em, Vikings -1.5.
I got to go with my Bears here, dude. This is an opportunity to introduce yourself to the world. You only get one introduction. You only get one first impression. For Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, this is the thing that they've had their sights set on, a divisional opponent, an opportunity to get after a team who is a very good test defensively. This is a great defense. So if Ben Johnson and this unit can go out there and handle business, I think they're going to be in a really good spot, man. I think they're going to be in a good spot. I got the Bears, obviously.
Just pencil them in for the Bears every week. We don't even have to do that. Just Bears, 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 Bears.
What do you want from me, dude?
I don't know. He was pretty critical at times of the Bears.
They hit it. Okay, they got the #1 quarterback. They've got an all-star receiver room. They've got Ben Johnson, who many people told me before he was a Chicago Bear, and I became a fanboy of him, that he was the best in football. You explain to me what's going on.
I'm with you. I'm picking the Bears as well. I don't believe in J.J. McCarthy yet, and I had my reservations about him last year when he came into the league, and I haven't seen enough of him. And there's been talk that he's been erratic at times in camp.
He doesn't have his full complement of guys right now either.
No, he doesn't. But they brought Thielen back, which will help him. I think Thielen's a reliable guy for them as well. But I'm just concerned about him as a thrower of the football, and they're going to have to run the ball. I think the Bears Ben Johnson will get the game plan going that against Brian Flores, where I think he hits him for a couple big plays. I like the Bears at home. I think they cover the number and win the game outright.
I do too. This was almost my best bet.
Me too.
But I picked something else.
Me too.
We're going to get the best bets in
That's cool. I like that.
just a couple of minutes. Recapping the primetime picks. Cowboys-Eagles on Thursday. Remember that Chiefs-Chargers game? That's a Friday night game in Brazil. Both the guys like the Chiefs -3 against the Chargers and agree on the Bears +1.5 at home against the Vikings. Best bets are coming up. Kyle was 15-7 in his best bets last season.
Woo-wee.
What's he picking in week 1? All right, we promised this is the last time we're going to look back at last season's record, Pete.
Get rid of it.
It's the last time. We just want to remind everyone that Kyle was 15-7 in best bets, because that's what we're getting to right now. Best bets. Kyle, since you were so great last year, what is yours for week 1 in the NFL?
Okay, 2 teams that I really love their offenses, the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Every time these teams get together, it seems to be pretty loose, Pete. So I'm looking at the over for Atlanta and Tampa Bay, and I've got the Bucs in this one.
Over 47.5, and every Bucs divisional matchup last year went over, including the 2 matchups against the Falcons. Pete?
I'm going with the Giants. Even though Russell Wilson's their starting quarterback, and I don't think he will be for long, I think their defense keeps them in the game against the Commanders. You're giving me 6.5 in a division game, I'll take the Giants plus the points.
I like the Broncos -7.5 against the Titans. I know both of you guys were on that pick. It seems too easy. It's a rookie quarterback against perhaps the best defense in football on the road.
We're all biting.
I know. But laying those 7.5 with the Broncos. The producers have an interesting pick.
What are those sickos talking about?
Producers have the Cowboys +8.5.
I like it.
In Philly.
I like it.
With a money line sprinkled as well.
That I don't like. I like the 8.5. I don't like the money line sprinkle.
That's the biggest spread of the
They've
week.
escaped the loony bin in the
The producers, by the way, were down in dumps like I was last year.
It was a rough start for the producers, but they came back late. And I know that I was like kind of on fire.
You were on fire. You were on fire. You guys are coming back to the reality this year.
I was drafting off of Kyle.
Any strange predictions for this season?
Strange predictions? Yes. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift will break up.
Travis Kelce gets good again.
Oh!
Wow.
Watch out.
I'm with you. I'm still not going to a Taylor Swift concert.
It's all Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift related. It's good to be back, fellas. For Pete Prisco and Kyle Long, I'm Chris Hassel.